marketing. Now, a lot of people have, in my opinion, marketing confused. We're going to be talking about we've talked about goal setting, we've talked about time management, we've talked about parenting, budgeting, we've talked about parent communication. And although we haven't talked about curriculum, it is also very important to your marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing is not your advertising. I know that's hard to believe, but a lot of folks who've come through our program in the last 8 years go, oh yeah, I market. I have a Yellow Pages ad. Well, today we're going to spend some time talking about marketing that is not advertising. If you look up in the dictionary and you look up Webster's definition of marketing, it is not going to show you a Yellow Pages ad. It is not going to show you a salesperson. One of the things I want to help you with today is to understand that marketing all comes back to you, your program, but you need to know what you're selling. There's going to be sections in your textbook that you're going to have to fill out, and you need to really think really hard when you're filling those out. A lot of folks, as they're looking through their program and they're enrolling families, they enroll anybody who comes because they want that body. They want that person in their program, and they don't necessarily sit there and go, is this person a match for our program? What is it that we're trying to sell? We're also going to take a little bit of a time to take a look at the cost of getting a new client versus the cost of maintaining a client. Sometimes, folks, it's okay to fire a family because if they're not a right match for your program and you're spending more energy or your staff are spending more energy on trying to keep that kid engaged or under control, then they may not be a right match for your family, and that's okay to say goodbye to them. And we want you to understand that. And so what we want to help you do today is to understand how to use goal setting and time management in your marketing. Marketing is going to be newsletters, banners and signs, websites, word of mouth, and social media. Now, the biggest one to me is not so much the getting the information out, but the follow-up and follow-through. Once you get a family in the door, what have you done to follow up with that parent? Have you left that parent on a mailing list? Do they know what your program is doing and when you have special events? One important question that you ought to think about, that you need to put on your to-do list, is how do you keep track of your current families, potential families, and past families? Past families? I've had a lot of folks who often wonder, and they look at me a little weird, why do I care about past families? Why do I want to keep past families on a newsletter list? If all of a sudden you decide to offer a summer program, your past families are perfect. Sometimes past families have children again. So they may have a second round of young children. And wouldn't you like to have those families that you like come back to your program? In that same sense, happy families are your best marketing. Word of mouth is the best thing you can do. Word of mouth we're going to talk about over and over and over. So get used to the terms word of mouth. One thing that I've done as far as keeping track, there's a couple of different methods outside of using computers. So if you're using a computer, a database, not a spreadsheet, is a really good resource. And a lot of the software that's out there that folks keep track of perhaps their accounting in or their billing in does have that feature, so you've kind of already done it. You just have to remember to keep your old parents and put in your prospective parents. For those of us who like paper, one suggestion I have is loose leaf paper and a 3-ring binder. Every time the phone rings, pull out a piece of loose leaf paper and write the person's name at the top and fill out all your information and just put it in a notebook. When it's time to do your newsletters, then you update your newsletter mailing list. It's the old-fashioned way, but it works for me. And for folks who need to touch it and feel it, that works really well too. The other thing are index cards. Those great big 5x7 index cards and have an index box. So it just kind of depends on what works for you. What do you do with this information? How much of this information is worth to you? If you think about asking every family in your program for just one other friend that you can send your newsletter to, you have now doubled your database, your folks to send your information to. The more people you can get involved and excited about your program, whether they're currently enrolled in your program or not, they're the ones who are, when the time comes, or they know somebody, you're the program they're going to refer to people. Budgets. So we've talked about budgets, and one of the things in budgets I mentioned that you really need to make sure you have is a marketing budget. Now, a lot of folks, like we said earlier, think of marketing as advertising. So they're already spending, lowball, at least here in Central Texas, $250 a month on a Yellow Pages ad. I would like you to think really hard about all the other things you could do with $250. The first thing I'd like you to think about is getting t-shirts. I know this seems simple, and a lot of people go, oh, but those are like, $5 a piece. They might be $5 a piece, and if you're spending more than $5 a piece, you can do better than that locally. So locally, you can usually find your shirts for about $5 a piece. If you go online and you're willing to wait 6 to 8 weeks, you can find them even cheaper. Find t-shirts, find t-shirts, find t-shirts. Buy every child in your program 2 or 3 t-shirts. If you have those kids wearing your shirts all the time, guess what? They're going to wear them when they leave. They're going to wear them to their piano lessons. They're going to wear them to their little ballet lessons, their little Cub Scout programs. They're going to be walking billboards for you. Take advantage of this. And then, if you've given them t-shirts, and that's become kind of a uniform for those kids to wear to school, you don't have to worry about if you have messy curriculum, because it's not going to ruin the kids' clothes. You've provided the shirts, and that's a great resource for you from a marketing standpoint and a way to give the parents kind of that break. So think about what you do with your registration fees. If you don't already have a purpose for the registration fees, if you just kind of work it into general budget, take it out of general budget and use those actual registration fees towards t-shirts for each one of those kids in your program. That's easy. Easy, easy, easy. If you've got 50 kids in your program, $5 a shirt, that's $250. That's 1 month. So over the course of 3 months of Yellow Pages advertising, you've just created 50 little walking billboards. There are 50 walking billboards every day of the week when they go to the grocery store. And if they look like they have a good time, even better. Okay, so get them excited about being your little walking billboards. The other thing I like to talk to people about is how to spend that $250 in a non-traditional way to get that word of mouth working. I worked with a program in Oklahoma. They tried very, very hard to get the parents involved. So they had this great idea. They were going to start to have dinner once a month at their program and bring all the families in. Well, kind of what happened is the parents kind of started to take that and took advantage of it, and well, it became a parents' night out, which isn't what they had planned. So I came back and helped them kind of take that same concept, work it into their curriculum, use it in their marketing, and it became their biggest marketing word-of-mouth advertising promotion and program that they had. It's providing family dinner, but the kids make the dinner and it goes home with the family. So a couple ideas. Spaghetti. Traditionally, you can find a box of spaghetti for about $1. Even less if you buy them in bulk at some sort of warehouse store like a Costco or a Sam's Club. Spaghetti sauce, you can buy cheap spaghetti sauce for less than $1. And the kids can then add oregano and garlic and all kinds of fresh herbs. So if you've got a garden, this is a great opportunity to get the kids involved in that. If not, you go to the dollar store and you buy the big containers of spices and the kids just dump them all in. It's kind of hard to screw up spaghetti sauce. So you give them the opportunity to make the spaghetti sauce in class. They're putting it back into the jar. They get to take that home because they made the spaghetti sauce. Mom and Dad are going to eat it. Their kid made dinner. Second, garlic bread. Get the kids involved in putting bread on butter. How hard is that? Or butter on bread. Bread on butter. Butter on bread and sprinkle a little garlic on it. And then they can have a salad. Buy a head of lettuce. Better yet, if you have a garden, the kids can go pull the lettuce out of their garden. But if you don't have a garden at your program yet, then take advantage of going ahead and buying a head of lettuce. Even if you had to buy all of those things, you're still looking at probably less than $5 for dinner for a family of 4. We also got the kids involved in decorating the brown paper bags. I would even suggest nowadays using canvas bags that are recyclable that the families take, and then they bring them back once a month because they want their dinner again. So spaghetti works out really well. Other things are things like fried rice, enchiladas, tacos you can do, or soft tacos or quesadillas. These are all things that parts of the dinner the kids can do. You can buy the rest of the ingredients and put it in with the parents, in that bag for the parents to take home. Even if you don't have a commercial kitchen. Now, if you have a commercial kitchen available and you have a cook on site, at the end of the day, have them cook up all the spaghetti, have them brown all the hamburger. Make this as easy for those parents as possible so that they get to actually spend some time talking with their kids. I've had the kids get really excited and want to make placemats during the art for that week. So you can bring this into your curriculum as well as using it as your marketing tool. Don't forget stickers. Stickers with the name of your program, your phone number, your website. Put that on every brown paper bag. If you're using a canvas bag, write it on there. Make sure everybody knows that this dinner is provided by your program and how to get in touch with your program, bringing families together. If you decide to go with a program similar to the family dinner program, one thing you need to do is talk to your staff, talk to your teachers, get them excited about this, get their buy-in. They may even have even better suggestions on things the kids can do and how they can make this work for their families. So we've talked about how to incorporate this in your curriculum. So they've got measuring and mixing, buttering bread, ripping lettuce, fine motor skills development, art, placemats, decorating of the bag for dinners. You can do this in every age group. If you've got lots of families that have kids in multiple age groups, you don't need to send home dinner in all of the age groups with every kid. It's going to be one per family. And so take a look at the child, those families. And so if they've got a really young kid, maybe the young kid concentrates on the salad and the older kid works on mixing up the spaghetti. But this is something that you as a program can kind of work through, but it's a lot of fun and the parents get excited, and you do it once and you have got these parents just locked into your program. Right now, you need to go ahead and turn off the video and come back after you've read the marketing chapter. And when you come back, we're going to spend some time talking about newsletters and newsletter formats. In the book, we don't have anything about social media, or very little, so we'll come back and talk to you a little bit about social media. LinkedIn, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, TweetDeck, Hootsuite. Get you at least familiar with what, at the time of this video, is current, as well as introduce you to some things that you may not already be aware of or that you haven't thought to use in your program, such as Yahoo groups or Google groups. Those kind of electronic tools make it real easy for your parents to communicate with each other, or for you to use strictly as a newsletter distribution. Include quotes from people directly affected by the news you put in your story. Talk to your kids, talk to your parents. Do show and tell a compelling story. Get them excited, show them what, how, and what the students were learning from this activity. Do write short, punchy, and easy to understand sentences. Number 7, do show value to the reader or the audience. Speak directly to them. Do help ease the public's pain or problem. Position yourself as the solution. Do you have the program that's going to solve the nature deficit disorder for kids in your community? Number 9, do reread and rewrite your press release, your pitch, before sending it. Make sure you have every word in there. Do include a contact person who is available and knowledgeable. Do use present tense and verbs. Get them excited about what's happening at your program. Number 12, do include a date for this release. Number 13, do watch the timing on this release. Number 14, do cite sources. Give credit where credit is due. This is a no-brainer. Number 15, when you include your photo, please, 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 I know we discussed this in the book, include a photo with your press release. Make sure that you give names and titles of those photos, the folks in your photos. Number 16, don't repeat the information. If you have it in your press release, you only need to put it in there once, not 2 or 3 times. Don't use jargon. Don't use early childhood terms. Don't use acronyms or a bunch of letters. Don't use initials. Just because you're a 3-star program or a 4-star program or you just earned that designation, they're not going to know what that means. Make sure you tell them in that press release what that means. Number 19, don't use the word announce. 20, don't begin with a name. 21, don't send low-resolution photos. Number 12, don't ask questions. You're the expert. You have the answer. Your program is the solution. 23, don't sell anything. 24, make it 1 page. This is a 1-page press release. And number 25, don't say the first annual. There is no such thing. It's either the first or it's an annual. It isn't the first annual. If you want more information about press releases and how to create a PR buzz, go ahead and Google public relations, press releases, small business excitement. You'll get great examples, great stories, and get yourself on Google Alerts.
One more thing we want to talk about when we're talking about marketing or publicity is actually being interviewed. It was my favorite type of marketing. I'm very partial to publicity. I wrote many a press release in my day, and I was interviewed by the newspaper and the TV a fair amount. What I want you to think about when you are thinking about this being one of your tools and techniques for marketing and publicity is you need to be somebody who they recognize the name. So start watching the news if you're not watching it already and figure out who it is who does the education beat or the small business beat. And when you see an article or you hear a news item that is related to either small business or education, write them a note. Email works, but mail that requires a stamp makes a little bit more of an impact. You may try both. Some people respond better to one than to the other. And more of them are starting to tweet also, so that's also a possibility. But in any case, let them know that you appreciate the time that they're spending on this issue that's important to you. Let them know any factual information that perhaps could have helped them in their reporting and give them your input on the story. You do this a few times and pretty soon you're somebody who they're going to call when they have an issue. And when they do, just be happy. Don't be afraid, unless you're one of those people who is afraid of public speaking. If so, this is probably not the tack you should take for your publicity. But if you're comfortable with public speaking, this is wonderful. Just remember a few things. They have already decided how the article or the news segment is going to go, probably before they show up at your program or before you show up at the studio or the office. They have started to pre-write the story. So they're going to try to get you to say things that go with the way they're planning on writing the story or cutting the film. So figure out what it is you want to say and just figure out about 10 different ways to say it. The more times you say your specific piece of information in different ways, the more likely they are to have to use what you have to say. If they try to take you off in a direction that you are not interested in, you need to find ways to avoid it. Simply say, well, that's not really a concern of mine. Or, I haven't really thought about that a whole lot. Or, you'd have to talk to someone else about that part. What I'm more interested in is the outdoor deficit disorder? The nature deficit disorder. I'm more interested in the nature deficit disorder. If you want to talk to someone about the impact of recycling on our city budget, you'd have to talk to someone else about that. It's not that hard. You can redirect and you can move things around to address your issues. Okay? So, figure out what your main point is and think of some easy ways to say, not my issue. Okay? Once you know what your issue is and have thought of several different ways to say it, you're ready to have your time. You may need to have photo releases if they want to see the children's faces, but a lot of times they'll just do shots of the back of the children's heads or of the children from the neck down so that you can't identify the individual children. But they do enjoy pictures of children. So it's much better for them to come do an interview at a school than at the local Wendy's. We've got cuter clients. Anyway, take a little bit of time to get ready before you have that interview. If you're a lady, check your makeup, check your hair, because trust me, there are times when you see yourself on film and you are not happy with your hair. Right now I have a little thingy here and it's going to drive me crazy. But that's okay. As long as you know ahead of time. Okay? This is one of those reasons to keep a little bag of makeup at your program. A little powder base, a little lipstick, a little mascara goes a long way. Okay. And that jacket we talked about when we were talking about professionalism. Keep a spare jacket and perhaps a spare shirt around the program if publicity is going to be part of your marketing strategy. People believe marketing more than publicity more than they believe advertising, and they're both part of your marketing budget.